What is that? It's being called the clearest UFO footage ever.
And they have confirmed that it's glowing.
Do you know there's another Neuralink competitor in the United States? They started before Elon Musk.
Robots are replacing human pregnancy. What the hell is going on?
A NASA engineer was the real-life inspiration for the Exorcist movie.
They find out that they were planning on selling her meat on the dark web.
Yo, what's good? We're back with another one.
It's showtime.
What is that? It's being called the clearest UFO footage ever, and online AI detectors are confirming it's not AI generated with over 99% accuracy. A triangular-shaped craft with no visible propulsion system, flashing strange sparks of blue light in the sky. Some are calling it extraterrestrial technology, but others believe this is what is known as a TR-3B, or Black Manta, a rumored anti-gravity aircraft made under top-secret government black budget programs. Technology beyond our imagination they'll never admit exists, using reverse-engineered crashed alien spacecraft propulsion systems operated by the US Navy and Air Force, which the United States, of course, denies, even though there are confirmed government-owned patents for triangular spacecraft that were filed in 2004 and abandoned after 2006, whose description just so happens to sound almost exactly like what we're looking at over here. The same craft that has been spotted numerous times around the world over the decades, only to get swept aside as a hoax or nothing to see here. But no, please Google this so you can read all about how it's 100% debunked, and don't you dare question it any further.
AI video is getting so good, AI can't even tell it's fake.
Nah, bro, it's Lockheed Martin.
Do you know there's another Neuralink competitor in the United States? They started before Elon Musk. They're called Synchron, and it is funded by Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates. This brain chip, you can text with it, use email, shop online, scroll on social media, all hands-free, just through thought alone.
Well, that's dangerous.
And guess how it's put into you? An injection through your jugular.
Ew.
They're not cutting your head open. It's an injection.
Is there an actual, physical chip?
It's like microchips that, go into your bloodstream that, live in your brain. You're able to literally control electric devices just by thought. An injection.
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, you want to come in and get this brain chip? We have to split your head open.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, they can sneak this in through anything.
For a
vaccine?
global pandemic.
But by Bill Gates and Amazon.
That's such bad news.
And I've never heard of this company in my life. This might be a stretch, but you do think of the mark of the beast. It says free or slave, rich or poor. You cannot buy or sell. You have to have this mark in order to do this mark of the beast. And so it'll be in the right hand or the forehead. And I'm just thinking the forehead. Is it referring to it's going to be in your brain?
Dude, what world are we living in?
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, bro, they're gonna be able to control our brains.
As far as we know, we're made of elementary particles, and there is nothing else. The only reason we assign some unusual qualities to humans is because the human brain is such a complex machine, and there is a simple, this is not just a theory, what I'm saying. We can test it, and we can test it with AI. Because once we develop an AI system that has as many parameters as the human brain, my prediction is that it will show the other qualities of the human brain. It will show a behavior that is consistent with it having consciousness, and it will show a behavior that is consistent with it having free will. So you would not be able to tell the difference between the behavior of a human.
Turing type.
Yeah, but it's Turing to a higher level. It's not Turing by a system that can fool you. That already exists now.
Yeah.
I know of people that fall in love with large language models. And I also have an avatar that a company constructed, basically trained on all my interviews and my writings and my recordings, and potentially also having video appearance. And I said, that's great, because I can send that avatar to podcast interviews like this one and save time. I had to fly here in order to speak with you. And if I have an agent that, can imitate what I say, that's good.
I'm sure they appreciate you being here and not an avatar.
Yeah, you can testify that I'm real.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. Well, so far as I know what real is, but yes.
It's like people want to merge with machines.
They do, bro. They're making a robot that gives birth to babies.
We have some news right now. Chinese scientists are currently developing a robot that could carry a baby to term and give birth to it. Yes, this is real. According to Asian media outlets, this prototype robot that's being created would literally be attached to a hose in which it would retrieve nutrients. It would have an artificial womb in which the baby grew. The prototype is expected to be released as soon as next year and will cost about 100,000 yuan, which is about 13,000 US dollars. Now, the company that's creating it is called Kaiwa Technology. Now, the company hasn't provided really much information over how the insemination process would work here, but we are really moving into the future if this is a real thing that actually is deployed. And now there are major ethical concerns and major ethical discussions going on online of whether or not this should even be done.
I don't know about that. It could be good for people that can't have kids, but then they could just adopt.
They're gonna have it in America, bro.
Elon Musk's latest project is a robot designed to carry human pregnancies, and while it sounds futuristic, it raises serious concerns about health, ethics, and the future of human connection. Seriously, pregnancy is not just about carrying a child. It's a complex process that impacts health, development, and bonding. Introducing robots into this equation could change everything about family dynamics and human development. So why on earth are we even exploring this path? Elon argues that it's about supporting families and tackling birth rate declines, but are we losing something critical by replacing nature with tech?
People are getting so far detached from what it is to be human.
We're fucked, bro.
These are contact lenses that let you see in the dark. They're like night vision goggles without needing the goggles. And it gets even crazier because these lenses let you see even when your eyes are completely closed. It's pretty insane. Now, this was a massive breakthrough by a research lab in China. And the way it all works is super interesting. The contacts are coated with special nanoparticles that absorb infrared light. That's the part of the spectrum our human eyes can't normally see. But here's the big innovation. Those nanoparticles can then convert that invisible light into visible waves that we can see, essentially letting us see in the dark. Now, the contacts are clear, so you can still see normally, but you also have this super secret power to read hidden messages. And here's where it gets even crazier. The people that tried these said it was even easier to read secret messages when their eyes were closed. So in theory, someone could transmit an invisible message, and as long as you were facing in their direction, even if your eyes were closed, you could read it. Pretty insane. The Chinese lab said the first version of these is only going to cost $200. And I don't know about you, but I could see these being everywhere.
If they're going to grow babies with machines, how long do they want to modify them with this kind of stuff?
They already have, bro.
So Starmer confirms a major new banking rule starting on September 18th, 2025, and it could change the way people in the UK use cash forever. From that date, anyone withdrawing more than £200 in a single week will be automatically flagged, with their banking details sent to a special financial unit. The government claims this will address concerns over untraceable money in areas like property, vehicle sales, and cash-based services. But here's the real twist. An advanced detection system won't just monitor withdrawals. It will cross-check deposits, spending habits, and unusual patterns, keeping a close watch. Imagine this. You take out £300 today, then another £100 just 3 days later. Instantly, your bank could hit you with an alert. Your account could be monitored, and suddenly you might have to explain where the money came from. And it gets more serious. Repeat transactions could land you on a watch list, with your account temporarily suspended, cards blocked, and even notifications sent to relevant authorities if you're receiving support. This isn't just about bank withdrawals anymore. This is about privacy, freedom, and the future of how we manage our finances. What's next?
We gotta get out of England, bro.
Yeah, it's getting out of hand.
You might have seen reports that WhatsApp is about to leave the UK, but before you panic about losing the group chat, here's what's actually going on. WhatsApp, owned by Meta, has strongly opposed the UK government's efforts to weaken encryption, with Meta joining Apple, Privacy International and Liberty in legal action. The push to weaken WhatsApp's end-to-end encryption is mainly driven by the UK's Online Safety Act. Under the law, platforms like WhatsApp could be required to scan private messages for illegal content, particularly child abuse material, but since end-to-end encryption means even WhatsApp can't see users' messages, the only way to comply would be to weaken or break that encryption entirely. The government argues that this is about protecting children online. However, critics say it could compromise everyone's privacy and security. The Investigatory Powers Tribunal has blocked WhatsApp from joining Apple's legal case, but a hearing is scheduled for 2026. So WhatsApp isn't going anywhere anytime soon, but Meta insists that it would rather leave the UK than comply with a law that breaks encryption.
This ain't got nothing to do with protecting kids. Go and watch our last episode on the Online Safety Act.
It doesn't apply to politicians, bro.
Keir Starmer has faced heavy criticism after it was revealed that the Online Safety Act ID verification system does not apply to the IP addresses in the Houses of Parliament, allowing MPs to log on and view adult and other restricted content without uploading their face or ID. Apparently this is to safeguard MPs from vicious foreign actors who could hack one of the third-party verification systems being used and release all of their private information. In a press statement, Keir Starmer said that the restrictions are not placed on the Houses of Parliament due to it being necessary for their work that MPs be allowed to access sensitive and adult content at a moment's notice, especially if they're really stressed. The Online Safety Act came into effect earlier this year and has since seen large amounts of backlash from the general public, with hundreds of thousands of people signing petitions, protesting in the street and taking vows of celibacy until the laws are repealed. A tech specialist who helped implement the exemption for the Houses of Parliament said that he was told they absolutely need a way for MPs to access adult content without having to show an ID, because over 200 MPs had complained to Labour and Keir Starmer that if they had to do that, they wouldn't support the Online Safety Act bill. Further reports seem to corroborate this story, as the amount of toilet paper that's been ordered to the Palace of Westminster in the last month has increased 400%.
It's always one rule for them and another for us.
They need to cut off the UK, bro.
If we want to kill the Online Safety Act, this is the way that it's going to happen. It won't be writing polite letters to MPs, it won't be signing petitions, and it definitely won't be getting out there and protesting. The only way to kill the Online Safety Act is to make the UK government lose money, and fast. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I really hope that the big tech companies just pull the plug on Britain. Shut it down. No YouTube, no Facebook, no Wikipedia, no Spotify, no Instagram, no nothing. Just gone. Because the truth at the core of it is that the government doesn't care about your freedom. It doesn't care about your privacy, it barely cares about your safety, it only cares about one thing: making money. If you suddenly cut the UK off from the platforms that it uses to tax, track and profit from, suddenly Westminster would start foaming at the mouth. Billions in advertising gone, e-commerce completely slashed, and creators and businesses with no online reach whatsoever. And suddenly the UK government has a gaping hole in its revenue stream. Money is the only language that they speak. The Online Safety Act isn't just an authoritarian mess, it's a logistical nightmare for every company operating here. It forces them to build or outsource to creepy ID systems just to stay compliant with the law. It's bad for people and it's even worse for business. And the government, they know that. They're just not going to care until the cash starts drying up. If Meta, Google, Apple, Reddit and Spotify all just said, fuck it, this is too much hassle, and pulled out immediately, this law would be dead before Christmas. Because the second the money stops flowing, the safety theatre, that all ends and the crocodile tears will dry up. The fastest way to repeal the Online Safety Act: make it cost them. Bleed the beast.
It's a bit extreme, but I think he's right. It wouldn't stop us. We'd just move to another country and upload from there.
Can't stop. Won't stop.
So the UK government thought it would be a good idea to anger 4chan. See, 4chan is an online forum where users can post without having to register an account at all, meaning everyone is completely anonymous, and this can lead to a lot of illegal stuff being posted. And with the Online Safety Act being put in place, the government is demanding that websites hand over their user info to better regulate illegal content. But 4chan pretty much said, no thanks, we're not handing over shit. And so now an investigation is being opened by the UK government into 4chan, and they want to impose a penalty of £20,000. But the thing is, 4chan is an American company with absolutely no connection to the UK whatsoever. And apparently 4chan's lawyers responded by saying, we're American, you have no control over us, go f*** yourselves.
Yeah, good for them. But you gotta ask why the rest of them are complying.
I told you, bro. The UK's my testing grounds.
Could The Rock actually become the next US president. Well, that's exactly what a lot of people are talking about today, because recently his odds of becoming the Democrats' next presidential nominee have surged on Polymarket above even Michelle Obama and Tim Walz. Now, realistically, his odds are still only sitting at about 2 to 3%, with Gavin Newsom and AOC being by far the top two contenders. But the crazy part is that he's up there without even saying that he's running. He has, although, dropped sneaky little hints. For example, in 2022, a poll came out that 46% of Americans would support his presidential run, and then he revealed that after that poll came out, multiple political parties approached him to see if he would run for US president in 2024. In 2016, he told GQ, "I can't deny the thought of being a governor or president is alluring." And then just a year later, he told Variety that the 2024 presidential campaign was a realistic consideration. Now, he mentioned what stopped him was his kids. He doesn't want them to be dragged into politics. But he still left the door slightly open because he told Trevor Noah in a podcast if that's
ultimately what the people would want, then of course I would consider it.
And hypothetically, if he did run in 2028, the current odds said that he'd be up against JD Vance. So the question is Dwayne Johnson exactly what the Democrats need right now? Or would AOC and Gavin Newsom be a better option?
We may as well just make it Terry Crews and be done with it.
Yeah, bro. Idiocracy's in full effect.
That's what I thought!
People are finding spiders inside of their houses that are literally turning into zombies, which sounds fake, but it's not. So there's a fungus that's now going around that's called GA, and it does the creepiest thing imaginable. It infects a spider, it crawls through its body, and then it eats it alive from the inside out. So basically, it's Taco Bell, but for spiders. This fungus is literally taking full control of the spiders. It forces them to climb around high up on walls and ceilings. Then it sprouts out of the spider's body, covering it in white fuzz like something straight out of The Last of Us, and scientists are saying that it basically puppeteers the spider's final movement so it crawls into the perfect spot with perfect airflow to spread its spores. That's like the show Disney on Ice, but it's sponsored by Satan. They're saying that originally this fungus that's getting to spiders was only ever seen deep in Irish caves, but now it's in the US. The headlines are blowing up on social media right now saying that the spiders have been spotted in American homes. Yeah, cool, as if Rent wasn't already terrifying enough, now we have zombie spiders on the ceiling too. There was actually one homeowner that said that her entire shed was filled with them and she hasn't opened her windows since. Was this really her shed, or was this actually the set for Stranger Things Season 5?
Great, now we gotta worry about a zombie apocalypse.
It's already spread into animals, bro.
Is it possible that we are on the brink of an all-out zombie outbreak without anyone realizing it? A couple weeks ago, I talked about how Colorado residents were a little concerned after seeing rabbits in their yards that had warts and tentacles sticking out of their faces due to a viral infection. The residents were assured that the infection could not spread to other animals, pets, or humans, but coincidentally, only a few weeks later, people in the US and Canada began to witness squirrels with similar symptoms, having warts all over their bodies due to a strange infection. They've nicknamed them zombie squirrels, and people have also pointed out how they and the rabbits scarily remind them of The Last of Us, which, if you don't know, is a game about a viral infection that comes through funguses. Keep that in mind. Moving over to humans, cases of Candida auris have tripled due to a deadly fungus that has been spreading across the United States. What's so bad about this fungus is that it's already built up a resistance to any medication that was meant to fight it. It's actually so resistant to the medication that doctors are saying if you get infected with this pathogen that has no treatment, then there's nothing they can do to help you, you're on your own. We've seen the CDC release a zombie preparedness guide on what to do and how to prepare for a zombie apocalypse. We know that billionaires are building bunkers en masse, and if this fungus, which is already resistant to all of our medications, decides to mutate and get stronger, who knows what will happen.
We need to board up the rest of the windows, bro.
Come on, Ted, it's not gonna turn people into zombies.
In 2020, a Reddit user was digging through a searchable database of leaked Hillary Clinton emails, and they found something that didn't look real. It reads, requesting documents pertaining to the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh, the location of his body, and the location of the buried Nephilim. As you would expect, conspiracy forums lit up. Why was Hillary Clinton trying to track down the tomb of Gilgamesh? And why was she trying to resurrect him? But the truth was much simpler. The Reddit user had done the search incorrectly, and they had pulled in results that weren't Hillary Clinton's emails. She was never involved, and it wasn't her email. It was just an ordinary citizen requesting strange information through a FOIA request. When people realized that Clinton wasn't involved, the story died. But what's forgotten is this FOIA request does have a kernel of truth in it. 13 years earlier, in 2003, a team of German archaeologists allegedly discovered the burial site of Gilgamesh. The researchers used magnetic surveys to map the ancient city of Uruk. Under the dry riverbed of the Euphrates, the researchers detected a massive rectangular tomb that matched the description of his tomb in the Epic of Gilgamesh. It was called one of the most important discoveries in Mesopotamian archaeology. But just days after the announcement, the United States launched the invasion of Iraq.
At this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger.
Within weeks, American forces had reached Uruk, and the excavation was stopped. The news of the discovery went totally silent, and the researchers left the country. No further reports were published, and it was as if the discovery had never happened. Of course, conspiracy-minded researchers didn't see this timing as accidental.
We gotta do an episode on the Epic of Gilgamesh, bro.
Yeah, and the Iraq War.
This is one of the reasons why everybody needs to stay off the dark web. So this happened in 2020 in Missouri to this lady named Cassidy Rainwater. One day that year, she ends up going missing without a trace. Everybody around her that knew her was pretty much like, what the hell happened to her? People that knew her, they contact the police. The police end up doing a investigation trying to figure out what the hell happened to this lady and where did she go. They get an anonymous tip from someone who sends them an image. It's a picture of this lady, Cassidy Rainwater. She's in a cage and she's like partially naked.
Whoa.
While they're doing all their research, it leads them to these two men that live in the same area. And one of the guys actually was pretty close to her. And he was this dude who she trusted and he was helping her get on her feet. They get like a warrant to go inside these guys' houses, and when they go inside of their house, they're just finding a couple weird things that they're like, okay, this is weird, this is a little bit weird. And then one of the investigators was like, you know what, I want to check the fridge. To these people's surprise, they open the fridge, they find a whole bunch of meat that is packaged with a date on it. Pretty much the date was around the same time this girl Cassidy went missing. They end up taking these guys, they take them in. As they're in custody, they take all of these bags of meat and they start to scan it for the DNA and see what it is. It matches with Cassidy's DNA.
Damn.
These people end up interviewing them, they're interviewing the guys. They find out that they were planning on selling her meat on the dark web.
Really?
Yes, and that's why these guys tried her up. And these guys had like, I don't want to say a market of it, but there was guys online that wanted to buy.
Clients.
Yes, and that's why they had that picture of her in a cage. It's basically like when you see a cow and they'll show a picture of it alive and be like, hey, well,
this is
the cow we're selling. They were doing that with this girl Cassidy. That's why they had her in that cage like that.
Fucking ass, horrific.
Yeah, bro, there's a lot of crazy shit on the dark web.
Did you know that a NASA engineer was the real-life inspiration for the Exorcist movie? And this was kept a secret for 72 years. William Peter Blatty wrote The Exorcist after he read a newspaper article about this story when he was a senior in college. And that's where he got the inspiration for The Exorcist. So his real name was Ronald Hunkler, and this all went down when he was only 13 years old. Now, he died in 2020 from a stroke, and all this came to light in 2021. And the reason no one knew his real name is because the stories were all published under the name Roland Doe or Robbie Mannheim. So he had an Aunt Tilly who was really into spiritualism, and she taught him how to use the Ouija board. Then weird stuff started happening. They started hearing dripping around their house. They couldn't find the source. They heard scratching coming from inside the walls that they assumed were rats at first. This went on for 10 days and then it suddenly stopped. And the next day, Aunt Tilly died. Then Ronald started acting weird.
An exorcism.
And really strange things began to happen. He was hearing someone pacing back and forth beside his bed at night. Heavy furniture was being slid around his room. His bed was shaking. Words were being scratched onto him. A lot like the stuff you saw in the movie, except I'm pretty sure his head didn't spin around. They went to their local church first for help, and when that didn't pan out, they ended up going to the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church was like, yeah, this dude needs an exorcism. He went through 20 to 30 exorcisms, and it finally all came to an end at the Alexian Brothers Hospital in St. Louis. Now, a statue was brought in of Our Lady Fatima and was put on the floor where they were doing the exorcisms in the hospital. Now, in the 70s, that wing of the hospital got torn down, but it's said that supposedly that statue is still on the lower floors of the hospital. You guys, he worked for NASA for 40 years and apparently was terrified that his work colleagues would learn of his childhood story.
It's not that surprising when you think about Jack Parsons working at NASA.
They're all Satanists, bro.
Did you know there's a line across America where reality starts to break down? They call it the 37th parallel, and it might just be the strangest stretch of land in the US. Running from Santa Cruz, California all the way to the Chesapeake Bay, this latitude, 37 degrees north, has been dubbed America's Paranormal Highway. Why? Well, it passes through various mysterious military bases, national parks, and clusters of high strangeness, almost like it's a roadmap for the unexplained. Going from east to west, this line runs right through Washington, D.C., and then on over to Appalachia, where we know there's a lot of weird stuff happening. It also cuts through the largest cave network in the world, Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, which there's some weird stuff with caves and things like Missing 411. It also passes through Joplin, Missouri, home of the infamous Hornet Spooklight, and the Ozarks in general, a region haunted with cryptid sightings and bizarre encounters over the years, and it's also home to the New Madrid Fault Line. It also skirts the edge of the Dulce Basin, New Mexico, a super secretive installation that allegedly houses aliens and unspeakable experiments, as well as Taos, New Mexico, home of the Taos Hum. From there, it runs directly through Skinwalker territory in the Four Corners region and not far from Area 51 itself. Now, what's really interesting about this parallel is the number of major UFO cases and sightings that have happened through history along this line, like the 1941 Cape Girardeau UFO crash that happened in Missouri, or the Roswell crash in 1947, even the Mantell case in 1948, which prompted the launch of Project Blue Book after the captain of the squadron intercepting the UFO that was seen perished trying to pursue it. And even in the 1800s, people were reporting mystery airships well before the Wright brothers ever took flight. And there's also been reported occurrences of missing time, people driving on the highway, seeing strange lights, then snapping back to reality hours and miles from where they were without explanation. And then there's the livestock mutilations. Thousands of cases since the late 1800s, all with the same signature. Major organs, eyes, and other body parts removed with surgical-like precision. The bodies drained of blood and no tracks, like they were almost dropped from the sky. So what is the 37th parallel? Well, some people think that it could be a ley line or some kind of dimensional rift. Others think it could be a kind of cosmic highway for UFOs for some reason.
There's a lot we don't know about the 37th parallel, Brett. But we'll have to save that for next time.
Hold up, so we've got to do the giveaway and explain where we've been.
Leave a comment for a chance to win in our next episode. Let's do this, Brett.
Bang bang!
Blah, blah.
Pick something from our website and we'll send it straight out.
That's terrortedstales.com. Shout out everyone buying the merch, bro.
Thanks for your patience while we couldn't upload, guys. I slipped a disc in my back and it's fucked. Proper fucked. It's the worst pain I've ever been through. But it's getting better little by little. It's probably going to take me about half an hour to get out of this chair.
Just stay there till Sunday, bro.
And as always, thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.